Now, you know, lately there's been quite the lack of a good cooperative experience, something where everything kind of just fits together nicely and you're stronger when working together. Now, just getting it out of the way, I don't consider competitive games to be cooperative, because most of the time the biggest enemies you need to fight are your teammates. And that isn't the cooperative comfy I'm craving to collect. So I have been very fortunate to find such a game that I believe is really well done in terms of cooperative play. As an early access game, it is not as popular as some of the other games out now or at the time of its release. So let's give a short little background about the game. Welcome to the Deep Rock Galactic. As one of the latest mercenaries recruited to the Interplanetary Mining Corporation, you mine resources in deep, truly dark caves that you have to illuminate with flares. There are several biomes like the standard cave, magma, frost, etc. And there are several mission types like mining a specific resource, recovering lost machines, or killing bosses, etc. On your missions, you get a mule, which stands for Mining Utility Lift Engine. It is where you deposit your inventory of minerals and call for the drop pod home after you finish your mission. But just like the people who leave me on read and dating apps, the mule will abandon you in a hole. In single player missions, you get a drone that acts as a personal bodyguard / miner, but I seriously hope none of you guys are playing exclusively single player, because the multiplayer is truly what makes this game special. You get to be one of 4 different classes: a scout, which gets a hookshot and a flare gun, an engineer who gets sentries and a platform gun, a gunner who can throw defensive shields and a zipline gun, the driller who gets a drill. Now that doesn't sound impressive by itself, but it is really useful. In the space station hub, you spend time here drinking beer and dancing and getting to know your brothers. And that to me is truly special because it allows you to bond with strangers without saying a word, which is something I wish you could do in real life. I think the game really clicked with me that there is something special here when me and a buddy were talking about how good Spider-Verse was, and during the swarm, my buddy died. Now, I'm pretty new to the game, so I have the situational awareness of teenagers in a horror movie. I didn't realize he was down until the bugs were hounding me like a group of friends does the last slice of pizza. In a panic, I took out my hookshot and got myself out of dodge. Considering I have a smorgasbord of bugs chasing after me with the same vigor as me chasing my hopes of getting internet famous, and my ammo was rapidly depleting, the only way I was to survive this encounter is to revive my friend. By this point, I've led every bug away from him and onto me. The same way I escaped will be the same way I saved my buddy, and that is hookshotting my way back to my friend. Notice the red marker here. That means the hookshot won't reach and therefore won't shoot. So I took a leap of faith, jumped out and saw the white text and made the shot, resurrecting my friend and saving the run. This moment, though really tame compared to further moments, it really sold me on the game's potential and allowed me to put many more hours into the game. My buddy falling and me realizing I had all the tools in my arsenal to save him without having to kill the swarm so that he could defend me while I resupplied. I will say that is the moment I fell in love with this game. Bonus points! Despite being early access, this game feels really complete. The devs truly work hard on this and release fast and consistent updates so that I truly feel the game is worth picking up right now. As an aside, they released a new update to this game while I was making this video that included new enemies, UI changes, and difficulty. The true beauty of the game, though, is in its multiplayer design. Gameplay acts like a conductor, producing a symphony of situations that truly lead to compelling experiences. Similar to games like Left 4 Dead, where the AI decides when to throw waves of bugs at you, but what I want to focus on is the class dynamics, because they do it so well. The way each class is designed is so that there is a weakness that can be covered by another class. For instance, a driller needing to get down from a high cliff over a chasm will have trouble unless there's a gunner who can shoot him a zipline. Each class has their own support value that stands out and doesn't feel weaker than another. No class feels like it could be removed from the game without making the game inconveniently harder. The way the classes work together and cover each other feel very satisfying, like a warm coffee on a cool day, like a good movie and that hollow feeling afterwards, like a session of powerlifting and your Quaker Oats, man, blow-up doll. The way I see it, the obstacles in this game are solved by the individual puzzle pieces your support abilities provide. To get the maximum value of your support moves, you need to ally with the other classes. The design does allow each class to have a workaround, but it is a much smoother and enjoyable experience to let yourself be supported, which I think is great. Teamwork is heavily encouraged. Not because you are explicitly told to do so, but because when working with others, you build each other up, which is a nice change of pace because I tend to let people down. Now, I will always applaud a game design that doesn't need to handhold you to meet the gameplay objectives. You'll be tempted to do your own thing, especially on missions where you need to recover the but the infrastructure provided from classes like platform guns or zip lines will be truly appreciated, and when you hear that swarm alert on the highest difficulties, you can bet you'll be running back home to everyone. Because the game heavily relies on teamwork, it is allowed to be difficult. The AI is nothing special, but it doesn't need to be. In fact, I like that the difficulty comes from being caught and overwhelmed. The swarm can defeat a single player, but it is manageable when working as a group. The combat in this game is very much about being prepared for the swarms. Illuminating the battleground, throwing out shields, setting up turrets. Since the combat isn't on rails, or press X to awesome, it gives you responsibility and complete control over your actions that would better serve your team, and doing so creates great satisfaction. I have never died and felt cheated from the game, apart from those goddamn cave leeches.
Degenerates like
cave leeches
belong on a cross.
Now let me tell you a little story about how satisfying the game is from its difficulty. We completed the mission, so the mule was heading back to the drop pod to leave with or without us. I decided to move on ahead, and I lost track of my brothers, and that damn mule. Because I don't have a degree in geospatial navigation, the map, while very useful, took some effort to read. That is when I was surprised by my driller brother. He had the solution. Instead of retracing our steps to the drop site, why not just dig straight forward? And this was working quite well for us. We created a tunnel into another tunnel. Our other two brothers were still lost to us, until the new tunnel was getting filled by one mean and big Praetorian. Now these mean godforsaken creatures are not the kind to take head on, and being trapped with nowhere to run is not that fun. So I gave my life to kill the Praetorian so that my driller can continue, only to find that another Praetorian was waiting right behind it. I am now unable to back up the driller, leaving him alone to his end. However, another heroic sacrifice was made. A missing brother showed up out of nowhere to cross-counter the second Praetorian, giving his life to end the second threat. However, the bugs wouldn't give victory that easy. A third Praetorian was there. Before the Praetorian could cause more damage, the driller came back and brought me back to the world of the living. And this allowed me to double back past the Praetorian, hit at its weak spot, and kill him. After doing away with some of the other cannon fodder, I was able to rescue my brother who saved us. This left the path clear for us to go all the way to the drop site. Even though we had 3 at the pod, we were not leaving without the last of us. We held our ground as the last brother told us he was on his way, and when he showed up we picked up our fallen and won. Rockin' stone. This game is truly something. For being early access, the developers have done a bang-up job that I am proud to have in my game library. I wholeheartedly recommend you purchase this when a sale happens, because let's not be silly, buying games full price is for suckers. Regardless, the game design is well balanced toward a true cooperative experience where everyone has a good role to play and feels needed. It also creates a gameplay that engineers scenarios that you would like to recall to other strangers on the internet. I personally recommend that you use voice chat to roleplay a bit as a dwarf. The community is great where they have gone along with me multiple times, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a thrilling experience where all the parts fit together and have a lot of fun, get this game, unless you can get a girlfriend.